Hi, Misfits. This is Kevin.
And this is Kate.
Welcome to Horrorwood.
That was very radio-like of you.
Thank you. I was telling you earlier I went to a drag brunch, which was super fun.
Love that.
And had some macarons at a bubble tea shop afterwards.
I'm going to have to go there. You have to listen to this episode of Red Handed that I just listened to
Okay.
about exploding lakes.
That's insane.
You guys, did you know that lakes could just explode?
Just out of nowhere.
I did not know this, and it is horrifying.
That's insane.
Which means we have to move because Lake Michigan's like
It's gonna
right
explode?
there. Any minute.
Any second now.
Gotta get out
Does
of
it
here.
have to do with ice or weather?
It has to do with carbon dioxide that builds up in the bottom.
I feel like I've heard of this before. No body of water can be trusted.
Leave go inland.
Yeah.
We've got 2 new Patronians to shout out today.
Yay! Those Patronians are Gigi.
Hi, Gigi.
Hi, Gigi.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Welcome.
Thank you for signing up on the Patreon. And our second one is?
Alexia Brown.
Alexia, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being a Patronian.
Yes.
Thanks for being a listener, guys.
Yes, thanks for signing up. So thank you. Your support really does.
It means a lot to us.
And it helps us so much. So thank you. Let's get into it.
All right, Katie. I held myself back because I remembered last time.
I mentioned to Kevin once that he doesn't have to address me so many times directly in an episode. And now it's all he thinks about.
It's all I can think about. Today, I am covering none other than the Master of Suspense himself, Alfred Hitchcock.
Kevin Corbett presents.
There's a side profile. You can't see it, but I'm walking in from the side and the shadows.
That should be the photo for this episode. It's just you.
I can figure it out in my room tonight.
Yeah.
I'll send you some pics.
Great.
So, Alfred Joseph Hitchcock was born on August 13th, 1899.
Oh, I didn't realize he was born in the 1800s.
1890s.
Why does that sound so long ago? Because it was.
Old ass man.
I mean, he's dead, so
He's
he's
dead
not
now.
old
I know
anymore.
he's not old anymore. He was.
At one time?
At one time. He was born in an apartment above his parents' leased grocery shop.
Okay.
Meaning they leased a shop.
Right.
At 517 High Road in Leytonstone, Essex, England, which is essentially on the outskirts of East London.
Oh, okay.
He was the youngest of 3 children in his family. His siblings were William, who was born in 1890, and Eileen, who was born in 1892. His parents, William Edgar Hitchcock and Emma Jane Whalen, were both of modest means. Alfred's father, William, worked in the food industry as a greengrocer and poultry dealer.
Okay.
Emma Jane was primarily a homemaker. Alfred Hitchcock's early exposure to the food industry and the working class environment that he grew up in had an impact on his later films. So as we go through his history of being like a kid and a teenager and growing up basically,
Yeah.
you can really see kind of where the impact on his films came from, like what the
Like how he
themes
was
were, like how he's
influenced.
influenced. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kate.
Here's the thing. I saw you struggling, but then I too was struggling. And in my brain, I was like, I need to help him out. What's the word? I got to think of
was
something.
waiting for you, and I was like just going nowhere.
But I couldn't think of it. And so it felt so bad.
I panicked. I looked at my notes. I looked at you. I was like, these things.
It got really tense in here for a
these
second.
things that, inspire us. Elements of class and struggle and societal tensions often wound up in his narratives.
Yeah.
There we go. I should have just read the next fucking sentence.
You had it right all along.
It was there all along. Hitchcock's childhood was marked by a strict Catholic upbringing. Both of his parents were Roman Catholics with partial Irish ancestry.
Okay.
I think we can just nod and understand
Yes.
what that was like. Because of the strict Catholic upbringing, things weren't exactly smooth in that household. His childhood was marked by loneliness and trauma, as he was usually caught between extremes of punishment from his father and the coddling of his mother.
Okay.
So according to Hitchcock himself, he was required to stand at the foot of his mother's bed each day and tell her what happened to him each day.
Like, just describe his day?
Yeah, she would make him come in and be like, oh, sweetie, tell me about your day, and make him stand at the edge of the bed and tell her about his day every day.
Part of me is like, okay, it's just a mom like wanting to know how her kid was doing and what happened during his day.
I think he's kind of looking back on it as something that he had to do that he didn't want to do.
Yeah, it sounds like he wasn't.
It didn't. I don't think there's good connotations there.
Okay.
As coddling as she was.
Mm-hmm.
But when Alfred was 6 years old, here's where this is a big deal that happened when he was a kid. His father, William, punished him. I don't know for what. I couldn't find out exactly what he did.
Okay.
I think it was just some minor thing at home.
Probably just being a 6-year-old.
Being a 6-year-old child. William punished him by sending him to a local police station
what?
with a note telling the officer on duty to put him in a cell for 5 minutes.
When he was 6 years old?
6 years old. And the police station just went with it.
They went with it?
Yeah, they just did it.
They were like, cool, yeah, let's imprison a child.
But this was done without telling him for how long. Like the note, like it was on the note to put him in there for 5 minutes, but I don't think he read it. He just gave it to the policeman. And he didn't know how long he was going to be in there.
This poor kid.
I know. And if you think about it, like notice that false imprisonment is a main theme in one of his movies, basically. So it left Alfred with a lifelong fear of law enforcement, basically.
Yeah, that
which
sounds
I
traumatic.
100% understand. I don't know if I think I've told this story on the podcast where my parents faked a break-in when I left the door unlocked.
And that's so fucking wild.
Isn't it? So my
Yes.
therapist thinks so too.
Well, I would imagine.
I have to take a drink of red wine now.
Me too. We decided it was a wine night to record.
Kate has some good red wines here.
It's Saturday night here. This post on Monday. We're just having some wine, drinking our troubles away.
Talking about Hitchcock. Alfred's father passed away on January 7th, 1914, when he was only 14 years old. When Alfred was 14 years old.
Okay, I was like, whoa. The math.
I wrote that there to say it, and I didn't, and that's on me.
The math was not computing for me.
He was 6, his dad was 14.
It's like, wow. Okay, so Alfred was 14.
He was 14 when his dad passed away. The loss of his father had a significant impact on Hitchcock's life. Some biographers and scholars suggested that it influenced themes of loss, guilt, and vulnerability that can be seen in his later films. So we're seeing where all of these kind of story themes are coming in at an early age.
And I also feel like because his relationship with his dad was so strained and he was probably afraid of him to a point, then there's that like small part of him that was probably relieved that he was gone, but then also that part of him is like, well, my dad, that's still his dad.
Exactly.
I feel like that's such a struggle for a kid
to go through. I've had that sort of same realization recently of like, you lose someone and you think you miss them, but you have this unresolved trauma that happened because of them that you don't know how to move on from them.
Yeah.
That's what I've found anyway, just in my personal journey.
Yeah.
It's tough out there, y'all. Careful.
I mean, yeah, even for an adult.
So the Hitchcock family moved to Limehouse when Alfred was 6.
Is Limehouse a place or a
It's a town.
house? Oh, okay.
No, it's not an actual house. It's a town in England.
Because I'm researching a thing right now, and like they name their houses, and I'm like, okay, is this?
Oh my God, it's crazy, especially in the UK where everything's like the house of blah 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 blah.
That's the official title.
Limehouse, it's a district in the London borough of Tower Hamlets in East London. So they were just moving around East London, Essex, all that place. I don't know, all that place.
All that place.
The family leased 2 more food stores. One was actually a fish and chip shop.
Hey.
Oh, I want that so bad. And the other one to go with it was a fishmonger store. English fish and chips, like just
the best.
Delicious.
The
Some
best.
vinegar on there.
Pour that malt vinegar all over it.
Pour over
Love
it. And did you ever have it like in the cone of paper?
Yeah. The best.
The beach. So good.
We love you, UK.
So Hitchcock attended his first school here, which was Howrah House Covenant in Poplar. The family moved again when Alfred was 11 to Stepney, and on October 5th, 1910, he attended St. Ignatius College, a Jesuit school in London. This school had a harsh reputation for its discipline.
Oh.
The priests used a tool known as a ferula, which was a flat wooden tool used specifically to smack children's palms as hard as you could. Kind of like a switch situation.
Yeah.
Basically.
So he went from being abused as a little kid in his home to being abused
in
at school.
Yes.
Wow.
But here's the kicker. Punishments were to be received at the end of the day. So if you got in trouble in the morning, you would just have to wait for it.
And you knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming all
that's
day.
Even worse.
That's even worse. That's worse than the actual punishment.
Oh.
I always hated those moments when I knew I was in trouble and things were going to go down.
Things were going down.
Alfred's early fascination with literature and art, particularly the works of Edgar Allan Poe and the German expressionist cinema, hinted at his future interest in suspense and psychological thrillers.
Okay.
Hitchcock was involved in various activities at school. He was part of the school's drama and literary societies.
Makes sense.
Drama club, which further contributed to his love for storytelling and the performing arts.
Mm-hmm.
His favorite subject was geography.
Did not see that coming.
I didn't either. When I was reading this, I was very surprised. But I understand the fascination of rocks. I think they're fascinating too.
Wait, geology or geography?
Geology. Geography. No, it's geography. I'm a fucking idiot, Kate. And please keep all of my mistakes in.
I'm absolutely going
because I feel bad.
Everyone
needs to know how bad I fuck up. Kate has to sit there. I just imagine you're at the table
cursing under my breath.
That motherfucker needs to get his shit together.
I never think that.
If you do, it's okay. I understand. I also think that about me.
Oh, I was like, shit, what I do?
Kate and I are in a fight.
We are.
Geography. For some reason, geography sent me to geology, which sent me to gemstones, which I think are really pretty.
Mm-hmm. They are. If that makes you feel any better.
He became very interested in maps and the timetables of transportation systems.
Okay.
Schedules. Hitchcock originally told his parents in 1913 that he wanted to be an engineer. He eventually left St. Ignatius and attended night classes at the London County Council School of Engineering and Navigation.
Oh, wow.
Which was in Poplar, which was close by to where they lived.
I see.
But after his father's death in 1914, he took a job working for the Henley Telegraph and Cable Company, which this is important because it's kind of his foray into movies soon.
I see.
He did this and took his engineering night classes because he needed to help out the family since his father was the one making money. His older brother is the one who ended up taking over the food shops.
Okay. I wondered about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting as well because at the time of his father's death, his siblings weren't living in the house. They're older than him.
Yeah.
So they had already moved out. So I could see how that'd be tough as well to sort of bear the brunt of what's going on there and be the only kid. You don't really have anyone backing you up.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's hard to be the baby of the family.
At a young age, Hitchcock showed an early interest in the film industry. He began working in that industry in 1919, initially in the design department. While he was still working at Henley's, he read in a trade paper that Famous Players Lasky.
Why is that familiar? Didn't we?
Yeah, we
mentioned that.
Brutus Valentino.
Okay,
the whole establishment of the film industry. Because Famous Players Lasky went on to become Paramount.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I was I know that we've talked about it, and I don't know why my brain wasn't putting the two together.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. Not at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. The production arm of Paramount Pictures was opening a studio in London at that time. So the studios are starting to pop up.
Yeah.
They were planning to film The Sorrows of Satan by Marie Corelli. So Hitchcock produced some drawings for the title cards and sent his work to the studio. He was initially, and he got the job. I mean, they accepted it, and he got
awesome.
the job. And so he was initially trained as a technical clerk and copywriter at the studio. And this early exposure to filmmaking set the stage, of course, for his future career as a famous director. Hitchcock then went on to gain experience as an assistant director and screenwriter in the 1920s, working on several silent films and contributing to projects such as The Prude's Fall from 1924.
Oh, that old thing.
It's a video of me tumbling down the stairs and going,
that's what the words are on the
fall.
screen.
Yeah, the prude has fallen. And also the Blackguard from 1925.
Okay.
Blackguard is all one word. His directorial debut came with the silent film The Pleasure Garden in 1925. It sounds like a sex movie.
It really does.
The film tells the story of two young women, Patsy Brand, played by Virginia Valley, and Jill Shane, played by Carmelita Girardi, who work as dancers, this isn't helping, in a London theater known as the Pleasure Garden.
Okay.
The narrative explores their relationships, including romantic entanglements and the challenges they face in their personal lives.
Yeah, it still sounds like a porn.
It still sounds like porn. The Pleasure Garden received a mixed reception upon its release. While not a major success, it did establish Hitchcock as a director to watch.
Oh, okay.
The film's reception did not deter him, and he continued to refine his craft in subsequent projects.
You got to start somewhere.
You gotta keep moving on. Over the next decade, Hitchcock honed his skills more as a director in the British film industry, producing both silent and sound films, because this is that moment in...
that transition.
During the silent film era, Hitchcock directed several films, including The Lodger, A Story of the London Fog from 1927, which is often considered one of his earliest masterpieces and kind of a first true thriller.
Oh, okay.
The Lodger demonstrated Hitchcock's emerging style and those themes of suspense, which we'll come to know all the well later. As sound technology became prevalent in the late 1920s and early 1930s, Hitchcock successfully transitioned to making sound films. His ability to use sound creatively and effectively contributed to the success of films like Blackmail from 1929, one of the first British sound films, also known as The Talkies. We've talked about The Talkies.
We have.
Okay, Talkies. On December 2nd, 1926, Hitchcock married Alma Reville at the Brompton Oratory in South Kensington.
Alma Reville. I love that name.
I do too. I hope that's Reville. It could be Reville or Reville.
Oh, it's probably Reville.
It's probably Reville, isn't it? Alma Reville at the Brompton Oratory in South Kensington. The couple honeymooned in Paris.
Oh.
I wrote, parentheses, blech.
Kevin does not like Paris.
It comes up in every story, Kate.
It does. It really does.
Alma would become a crucial collaborator throughout Alfred's career.
Alma and Alfred. I just put those together.
I love it. I want to do a needlepoint of that.
You should.
Like the side profiles. Alma Reville was born on August 14th, 1899 in Nottingham, England.
Oh, okay.
Which is one day after Alfred's.
Oh, I was like...
on the same year.
Wow.
August 13th, 1899. She was born August 14th, 1899.
Leos, written in the stars.
Alma showed an early interest in the film industry and began her career at the same time in the silent film era.
Okay.
We have a lot of really great women in the silent film era. I just want to say that. Alma started as a film editor and script supervisor. She worked at Famous Players Lasky, later Paramount, in London, where she met Alfred Hitchcock. That's where they met. They worked for the same studio. Alma was an editor, screenwriter, and eventually became Hitchcock's closest creative partner.
Cool.
The marriage lasted over 53 years.
Wow.
Until Hitchcock's death in 1980.
I thought you were going to say, like, until she decided she wanted a divorce. I'm like, after a few decades, sometimes.
She was just like, fuck it. Someone get me.
I'm out.
The Hitchcocks had a significant professional collaboration, as I've been hinting at. Alma Reville played a crucial role in the filmmaking process, and she was in there doing scripting, editing, overall creative development of like all
getting
his
after
movies.
it.
Her influence extended to Hitchcock's legendary attention to detail and meticulous planning.
Great.
I think together they were just very focused
Yeah.
on making something specific, which we'll get into it more later, but I think that can also kind of put others off sometimes when the focus is too...
I see.
You know what I mean? When you're looking through a straw or whatever.
I see.
They had one daughter, Patricia.
Okay. I couldn't tell if you were surprised by that or excited
I'm
about
excited.
that.
Patricia!
You're like, they had one daughter?
Shout out Patty Hitchcock. I don't think she went by that.
Is
but
she
maybe.
still alive?
No. She died in 2021.
Oh, wow.
Pretty recently.
Yeah.
But her name was Patricia. She was born in 1928, and she later appeared in some of Hitchcock's films. The Hitchcocks maintained a relatively private family life.
Okay.
Despite the demands of Hitchcock's filmmaking career, they remained dedicated to each other and their daughter. Patricia Hitchcock's involvement in the film industry also reflected the family's close ties to the world of cinema. Hitchcock would often speak about his marriage to Alma in interviews. He wasn't super apt to talk about himself personally, but he did talk about his wife, which is
Was it like a
sweet.
true love there?
I think so.
Okay.
I didn't, there wasn't anything I read that made me think otherwise.
Okay, good.
I think they really had a strong admiration for one another. He would talk about Alma in interviews, describing her as his most trusted collaborator and confidant.
Okay.
Hitchcock once humorously remarked about his collaboration with Alma, saying, quote, "The length of our collaboration I couldn't do without her. If she didn't exist, I'd have to invent her."
That's a weird thing to say.
It is. And I thought about it for a second. I think it's kind of sweet in its own unique, weird way. In 1939, Hitchcock made the move to Hollywood, where he would go on to create some of course, the most iconics. His Hollywood career began with Rebecca.
Okay.
In 1940, which is a big one. And that won the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Wow.
Throughout the 1940s and 50s, Hitchcock solidified his reputation as the master of suspense, with classics such as Shadow of a Doubt, Notorious, and Strangers on a Train. Snakes on a plane, strangers on a train. Everybody's going to talk about this. I want to make a rap about that.
You just
I
did.
just had a musical thing. So when he moved to Hollywood and started having this success, his mother actually ended up passing away soon after that.
That's sad.
On September 23rd, 1942. She died during the production of Shadow of a Doubt.
Okay.
And Hitchcock was deeply affected by his mother's death, and he dedicated that movie to her memory. Alfred's childhood and early life experiences, as I've said, like it highly influenced his filmmaking style. His Catholic upbringing, fascination with suspenseful literature, and exposure to the German expressionist. Why can't I say that word? It's not even a hard word. The German expressionist cinema.
We all have our issues.
Some are more apparent.
Okay, can I tell you?
Yes.
I was trying to write my Patreon episode today at the coffee shop, and I wrote apparently.
Yeah.
And my thing kept saying it was wrong. Like I got the red underline and I'm like, apparently.
Yeah.
And I tried so many different ways. And I was like, how the fuck am I not spelling apparently correctly? Like I know how to spell apparently. Turns out I did not spell that word correctly.
It's so interesting when that happens. And especially with like really simple words.
Yeah. And I was like looking at it. I was like, how is that possibly wrong?
Then why is it wrong?
Yeah. I was like, what's wrong with my computer? Like, it's giving me typos that aren't typos. And I was like, oh, no, fuck, that's not how you spell it.
I had that word with obscene, like, not too long ago. And I was like, this is right.
Yeah.
And I was missing, like, 2 letters. So we're talking about Hitchcock being a master of suspense and how that sort of relayed back to his childhood. He had the ability to create tension, and he used really innovative camera techniques. And his understanding of the psychological aspects of storytelling are what, made this lasting effect on cinema culturally, I think. However, Hitchcock was known for his intense and controlling relationships with his leading actresses. Some actresses, including Tippi Hedren, who starred in The Birds from 1963 and Marnie in 1964, have spoken about Hitchcock's demanding and at times inappropriate behavior on set. Hitchcock was known for his control. He was a very controlling and meticulous director. And during the filming of The Birds, he became fixated on Tippi Hedren. Hedren has stated in interviews that Hitchcock's attention went beyond professional interest and became way more personal than it should have. Tippi alleged that Hitchcock became infatuated with her.
Yikes.
And when she rejected his advances, he became vindictive and even more controlling. This strained their working relationship during the filming of those movies. He allegedly began sending her gifts and letters.
He didn't love Alma if he's trying to get with these other women.
Yes, and I hear what you're saying. I'll get into a theory that I read later about this behavior. And it doesn't excuse it in any way.
But it's a theory that's out there.
It's a theory that's out there that, in my mind, I can see how it makes sense. So yes, I hear what you're saying about, absolutely. Like, if you're trying to get with other women, do you really love this person you say you love so much?
And question, was Alma on set on his projects?
Yeah.
So she, possibly witnessed this.
That leads me to believe that the theory I'll get to later. This strained their working, the relationship between Hitchcock and Hedren during the filming of those movies. And he would be just, overly possessive to her and really, really strange. So she did The Birds, but then also went and did Marnie.
Was
right
it a
after.
Contractual obligation?
I think, I don't want to give an answer to that because I don't know.
Okay.
But I think at this time, this would be an educated guess, was that he was a big shot director at this time. This is a big ass director. I think people at the top wanted to work with him in any capacity, even if she experienced this mistreatment. I don't know if it was a contractual thing. I didn't see that mentioned.
Okay.
It might have been a deal that had already happened since they were shot back to back.
True,
basically.
yeah.
So yeah, the relationship became even more strained when she started filming Marnie with him. Hedren has described Hitchcock's behavior as emotionally abusive, and she felt pressured and uncomfortable working with him. When Hedren rejected Hitchcock's advances even more, she claims that he was like, okay, well, fine, I'm going to control your career.
Oh, God.
And according to Hedren, Hitchcock made it difficult for her to work in the industry by effectively blacklisting her.
He's the Harvey Weinstein of the 1960s.
Career-wise, he didn't rape anybody that I found.
Okay.
Doesn't make it better, though. Hedren's career did face challenges after her collaboration with Hitchcock. While she continued to work in film and television, the controversy surrounding her relationship with Hitchcock and the subsequent difficulties in her career can be obviously seen. Things didn't go as well.
And also, he could easily have just gone around and been like, she's difficult.
Well, and that's the thing, too. He's such a big name in Hollywood. It's so easy to do that.
Yeah. As soon as you are labeled difficult, you're done.
Bye, girls and boys.
Plural and
I don't know why I said
specific.
it like that. Everyone. She said in an interview that Hitchcock ruined her career, but not her life.
Okay.
I read an article about, there was a movie, I think, that came out with Sienna Miller playing Janet Leigh or something. And she was interviewed when that came out.
I see.
And she was like, it ruined my career, but not my life. Now let's talk about Alfred Hitchcock's shower scene from the movie.
Question. Sorry. Wasn't there a thing with Tippi Hedren on The Birds where he
There's more about Tippi Hedren coming later.
Oh, okay. Because I was
it's not all done. I broke it up a little bit.
Got it. I was like, but
because there are other things that happened that he did that fit in with other elements of him being a controlling director. Don't you worry, Kate. I got you.
Okay, set me up for your next thing.
Okay. All right. Alfred Hitchcock's shower scene in the film
Psycho
1960 is often considered one of the most shocking and groundbreaking moments in cinematic history. Several factors contribute to its impact. Let us talk about them, Kate.
Let us.
That scene sparked a lot of controversy when it first came out because it was so graphic for the time.
Sure.
Hitchcock's decision to kill off the main character early in the film. Oh, spoiler warning for for Psycho.
If you haven't fucking seen Psycho by now,
what are you even doing?
This is not a spoiler. It's been decades.
I would love to do an episode on Psycho And I'm not going to go into all of it here, but
Okay.
there's a lot around the making of Psycho. There's a really great podcast series from Wondery called Inside Psycho. It's the same people that did Inside the Exorcist.
Ah, okay.
Really great deep dive into
Nice.
the story, the making, everything. So I'll do like a Patreon
Great.
episode of that maybe. So yeah, it's considered an unconventional scene. It's a pivotal moment in the film because it defies the audience's expectations. So up until that point, the character of Marion Crane, who's played by Janet Leigh, is established as the film's protagonist. And her sudden and brutal death in the shower is unexpected and shatters traditional storytelling conventions.
Yeah.
So Hitchcock's decision to depict the murder in a graphic and intense manner was unprecedented. The stabbing is shown through quick cuts, striking camera angles, and the use of music and sound effects. Like it's all coming together to sort of show this thing, but not without actually like fully showing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the suspense of it. The thrill.
The Master of Suspense. The shower scene is certainly a masterclass in cinematography, Kate. Oh my God. Hitchcock
Who are you right now?
I don't know. Hitchcock.
That wine has hit you in
I'm
a
not
weird
drunk
way.
though. I promise you. I'm just having a good day.
Great. I love it.
Hitchcock, along with cinematographer John L. Russell and editor George Tomasini, used different and innovative techniques such as montage editing.
Tell us about the montage editing.
Montage editing. Oh my God. Montage editing. And the careful selection of shots to create a sense of tension and horror in that moment.
Yeah.
That scene is laden with psychoanalytic themes.
Tell us about them.
Tapping into fears and anxieties associated with vulnerability, invasion of privacy, and sudden violence.
Yeah.
Which I think about all the time.
Because of that movie, when I lived alone, every day when I got home, I would go into the bathroom and I had a shower curtain up. That like I always close it after a shower because you don't want there to be mold.
Exactly.
So when I would come home, like at the end of the day, I would walk into the bathroom and I'd walk up to the shower curtain and I'd punch it just to make sure no one was hiding behind it. Because I was like, I don't need anything happening to me in the shower.
I still do that. Like when I get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, I open the shower curtain because I can't sit there.
You gotta.
And
you gotta make sure, you gotta check that no one's there.
You know, one of the things that always scared me as a kid in the shower was there's a scene in the original televised movie of It where Pennywise comes up through a drain in the boys' locker room in the shower. It scared the fucking shit out of me.
Yeah, that would anyone. I don't need a fucking clown coming up through drains in the shower.
No. I mean, I'd prefer lead.
Some people have their preferences. I would prefer nothing, just like a nice running working shower.
And then again in that scene, Bernard Herrmann's score, which is the, stipulated sort of eek, eek, eek.
That was a horrible impression. I'm sorry,
I think
everyone.
We both tried to do
Everyone's like, that's not how that went.
Are crazy. But I mean, that also contributes to the overall shock of it, coupled with the visual elements make it, I'm touting it a lot. The filming of that scene, let's talk about that.
Sure.
Because, of course, famous Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh.
JLC's mom. She's of course, the actress in that scene who is very famous. And Hitchcock kept specific details about that scene from Janet Leigh because he wanted to capture a more authentic reaction.
I know where this is going because I had to study this film for my fucking Universal tour job.
So, chime in if I get something wrong.
Oh, I think you're getting it all right.
Leigh was aware of the overall plot, but the director deliberately withheld certain elements of the scene, such as the use of a body double, which was Marley Renfro, and the timing of the shower head. So in one instance, Hitchcock manipulated the temperature of the water during the shower scene. Janet expected it to be cold or hot.
She expected to be warm, like a nice warm hot shower.
Maybe I got it wrong. So she expected it to be warm, and then it was just like freezing cold.
He turned it ice cold.
Ice cold, and she freaked out.
Yeah.
Which, no shit.
Yeah.
I do that in Scream all the time.
You just surprise yourself
I do.
turning on the cold water.
I don't know what it's going to be. So to enhance the realism of the stabbing sequence, Hitchcock had a light bulb placed inside the fake blood pouch to make it appear more vivid on camera.
Oh, cool.
And this added an unexpected visual element to the scene. At one point, Janet Leigh's performance wasn't meeting Hitchcock's expectations, so out of frustration, he grabbed the prop knife and just began fake stabbing at Leigh.
Awesome. What is with these directors? Because it's the same thing with
that guy who,
Blatty, or
right, William Peter Blatty.
Yeah. Where he's just abusing actors on set to get reactions.
It always goes in a poor direction, honestly.
It's not great,
it's not
guys.
Great to do. He fake stabbed her, barely missing her body, trying to actually scare her.
Cool.
So, aside from this, Hitchcock, of course, as I've mentioned, is known for his demanding directing style. Many actors out there at the time admired his genius, but others who worked with him found it challenging.
Mm-hmm.
The atmosphere on some of his sets was just described as intense. An intense experience.
If I went to work and someone pretended to stab me, yeah, I feel like that's intense.
He was also known for meticulous attention to detail and pursuit of perfection. This is where we're getting into like laser focused on these movies without thinking about kind of how everyone else's experiences contributing to the creation. He had a precise vision for each scene and often required numerous takes to achieve the desired result. Along with this, he was a technical innovator and used complex camera movements and techniques. So achieving the intricate shots he envisioned required a high level of precision from his cinematographers, editors, and other crew members. That was a little bit demanding and a lot of pressure on people who worked on those movies.
Yeah.
It was kind of, he has a very specific what he wants. It's so hard in those situations. Like, I've experienced this just working in entertainment and the arts industry, like having someone who has such a vision for something, but it's like they can't communicate it in the way that they need to, so you just have to keep trying it
until you get
it for them, and it's just such a frustrating experience.
Yeah. Crew jobs on sets are already so stressful because you're working crazy ass hours. But then to like have to appease someone like that.
Right. Who's going to make you do it until he gets what he wants.
Yeah, that'd be a fucking nightmare.
Scary. Just a little piece of trivia I want to throw in here. When he was finishing, I don't know how true this is, but I found it on IMDb.
Okay.
When finishing a cup of tea while on the set, he would often, like, non-discriminately just toss the cup and saucer over his shoulder, letting it fall or break wherever it may.
What the? Why?
I don't know. I'm going to start doing the same. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, that's a good wine glass. Do not.
So not only was he wanting to have say over everything else involving the production, but he also was involved in the marketing.
Oh.
So here, Kate, we're seeing that, what's it called? Vertical integration. Hey, dun, Disney.
Ta-da.
Hey, girl. I have another.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. I have a Disney trivia piece at the end of this to do with Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh.
No.
No.
The thing about this was he was actually really smart around marketing and PR when it came to movies. He understood the importance of creating suspense, not only in the films, but also in the promotion of his projects. So, for example, during the release of Psycho, he insisted that theaters not allow latecomers to enter once the film started, building a sense of suspense and anticipation. Oh, you can't come in once this starts because it'll interrupt it. And everyone's like, really?
Exactly.
Ooh. I mean, smart. Going back to working with actors, he did other things to try to elicit responses from people that worked with him. For instance, he might create an atmosphere of tension on set or use specific music to induce anxiety to put actors on edge before filming intense scenes. He was also fond of surprising his actors with unexpected elements during the filming of those crucial scenes. So this could include sudden loud noises, unexpected props, or alterations to the set, all designed to capture authentic reactions.
Alterations to the set. I would have so much anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an actor and you go home or you're in your hotel room or whatever and you're preparing and you're like, okay, I've got my lines down, I've got my blocking down, like I'm ready for this, let's do this. I'm in this huge movie with this huge director. And then you show up to set and like
it's different.
The fucking set has changed and like random loud bangs are going off and then a director's trying to pretend to stab you. Like, what kind of day at work is that? I would need so much medication.
I would too. Bring on the Xanax. So Hitchcock's demand for perfection, it caused stress and tension.
Yeah.
And he sometimes gave unconventional or vague directions to the
Great.
actors.
Exactly what you want in a director.
Encouraging them to explore their characters' emotions and reactions in unscripted ways. In some instances, Hitchcock subjected actors to physical discomfort to achieve realistic performances. Here's the Tippi Hedren thing. So, for example, during the filming of The Birds, he used live birds and various techniques to create a sense of fear and chaos. Tippi Hedren was actually chased and attacked by the birds while she was filming the movie.
Fucked up.
That's so messed up.
Yeah.
To have to leave a set after being pecked by a ton of birds.
Oh my God. Did she have to go to the hospital?
I don't think she did. I don't think it was that severe, but still.
Yeah, you just got attacked by fucking birds.
Birds are scary when they attack.
Birds are no fucking joke. Weren't we talking about this recently?
I think we might have been, yeah.
What was it, an owl or Oh, because I think we were talking about the staircase case.
Right.
Don't fuck with birds.
They'll fuck with you back.
And they'll
have
win.
No qualms. And they will win.
Yeah, they will.
You can't fly unless you're David Blaine. I don't know.
Wow, you pulled him out of nowhere. Who
I did?
Who's talked about David Blaine in 5 years?
David Blaine. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure he's great. I like
think he's great.
magic.
I love magic. We should go to the there's a theater up in Andersonville.
I've been and I love it.
Is it good?
It's
I've never
great.
been.
It's great. The one where you enter through a laundromat.
I don't know.
Oh, we'll go.
Okay.
It's fun.
I love it. We'll go to Blowfish, go see a magic show.
Yes.
That sounds fun, actually. Hitchcock also enjoyed playing pranks on his actors.
Okay. I mean, that could get into some pranks depending on what they are.
Yeah. In one instance, he sent his daughter, Patricia, into Anthony Perkins, who played
Norman Bates.
Norman Bates' dressing room, dressed as a corpse to just surprise him.
Surprise! I mean, that's kind of fun.
I mean,
at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, I think he did play some fun pranks.
Yeah.
During those filmings, while he was kind of treating people weirdly, he would maintain certain emotional distances from people. And while he could be supportive and collaborative, he also viewed actors as instruments to convey his own vision.
It sounds like it.
Yes.
Anyone that you're gonna treat horribly, you
get what you want.
You don't see them as an equal or as a physical human feeling being.
He has emotions. Absolutely. But there's another viewpoint to this. Other accounts of actors have painted the director in a nice light, with stars saying he was actually a delight to work with. We're going to talk about the theory that Hitchcock was so we know what method acting is, a method director, that Hitchcock's behaviors could be seen as like a catalyst for that kind of performance and overall feelings that he wanted to portray on screen, and not necessarily like a reality thing. Like he would.
I see what you're saying.
Right. So let's take like the Tippi Hedren thing. Like she's filming these very suspenseful movies with these horrific themes, and he's like treating her in a way that.
He's like, you know what? You're going to get attacked by birds. Let's make them real fucking birds. Here we go.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying and like why they could see his behavior as being explained by that.
It doesn't excuse it though.
Exactly.
And that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like I hear what you were saying, which it's terrible. Using these methods is not good by any means, really.
Don't stick live birds on people.
No, but it provides an explanation. It's not a good enough explanation, though, to excuse behavior. Aside from this, Hitchcock carefully cultivated a public image and was known for his dark sense of humor and dry sort of comedy. He often made self-deprecating jokes and played up his Master of Suspense persona. However, his public image contrasted with a more complex and private personality. Hitchcock had a dark, as I said, sense of humor, Jesus, repeating myself, and he wants to find happiness as, quote, a small, dry martini.
Oh, well, he wants to find happiness. I thought you said he wants to find happiness.
To find happiness, a small, dry martini.
I was like, wait, what?
What? I do like a small, dry martini.
I'm not a big martini person.
Alfred Hitchcock, known for his wit, eccentricities, and unique approach to filmmaking, has left behind numerous notable stories that contribute to his legendary status. At a dinner party, this is stupid. I'm including it, though.
Okay.
He performed a famous prank where, knowing that like one of his guests had some kind of fear of water,
oh God,
filled a glass with water and pretended to accidentally spill it on them.
This is he's such a fucked up person.
And I didn't include this in my notes, but I read that, like, if he found out that someone was afraid of, like, spiders or, he would send them a box
of spiders.
Yeah.
That is so awful. Like, way to really just turn that trauma knife a little bit further.
Keep turning the knives. It's the 60s.
Ooh.
Hitchcock had a peculiar.
Third time's charm.
Hitchcock had a peculiar.
Maybe it's not. Fourth.
Peculiar. Kate, I can't say it.
Are you having a stroke?
I don't think so. I'm okay physically.
Okay.
Peculiar. There we go.
Wow.
That's never happened to me before.
You went on a real journey there.
Hitchcock had a peculiar aversion to eggs.
That's not how I thought that sentence was going to end. And why was this, Kevin?
He once mentioned that the sight of a fresh, undisturbed egg yolk made him queasy.
That's so weird.
Kate and I love eggs. Just to put it out there. Love
Like, we're
eggs.
not even kidding.
We're not kidding about that.
Love it. We've had extensive conversations about how we like to cook our eggs.
And Kate bought me an egg maker once.
I did.
I love that thing.
Do you use it?
I use it all the time.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
No, still to this day. That was like 2 years ago.
Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This unusual fear found its way into some of his films.
Okay.
With Hitchcock incorporating eggs into suspenseful scenes, such as in To Catch a Thief from 1955. There's a memorable scene where Cary Grant's character is served eggs, and Hitchcock reportedly reveled in creating a suspenseful atmosphere around the seemingly innocuous meal.
Huh.
Look, I'm serving him eggs.
It's almost too like he's trying to face his own traumas.
Yeah.
He has a weird thing about eggs. And he's like,
well, then I'll fucking send him a whole crate of eggs.
You should. See how he
Which is
feels.
a state. See how they like it. Hitchcock made cameo appearances in most of his films. I think this is what we know a lot about. These brief and often humorous appearances became a trademark of his. Hitchcock's cameo became a fun element for audiences to look out for in each of his movies. Where's he gonna be, Kate?
It's like Stan Lee in Marvel movies.
I didn't know that. Here are some notable and memorable Hitchcock cameos.
Okay.
I just wanted to run through them. I thought it'd be fun. In The Lodger, A Story of London Fog, Hitchcock's cameo in this silent film is one of his earliest. He can be seen in a newspaper office.
Okay.
In The 39 Steps, his silhouette is seen on a billboard advertisement for a weight loss product.
Okay.
He was a big man.
Sure.
For Lifeboat 1944, he had a hard time deciding what to do with his cameo. What he eventually came up with was to have his picture in a newspaper advertisement for weight loss that floated among some debris around the boat. He had happened to have lost a considerable amount of weight from dieting around that time. So he was seen in both the before and after It was like a before and after weight loss picture. And the text of this ad uses the tagline, "Obesity Slayer."
Did he have like a hang up about his weight?
Something like this would make me think that because he's bringing it up, maybe there was some...
It sounds like, because it's come up a couple of times.
Right, it's come up a couple of times. So maybe he had some, what's the word?
And obviously he was the one who made that caption, Obesity Slayer.
Yeah, I mean, he did it. I think it's like, it almost feels to me like make fun of yourself before other people can make fun of you type thing. Oh, much like Hitchcock, Alma made a cameo appearance in some of his films as well. He was also known to include unusual clauses in actors' contracts.
Let's hear about this, because I feel like
I have one instance.
Okay,
but for example, in Tippi Hedren's I don't know.
I think he had a thing for her.
In Tippi Hedren's contract for The Birds, there was a clause stating that the studio would pay her a bonus if she maintained her figure.
See?
By not gaining or losing weight during the production.
He had a weird thing about her.
While filming To Catch a Thief in 1955, Hitchcock had disagreements with the original novelist David Dodge over the adaptation of the book. And he made substantial changes to the story without consulting Dodge.
That's not good.
Leading to tension between them. Hitchcock's strong-willed approach to adapting source material sometimes created conflicts with the author.
Well, yeah. You can't just be changing shit and not telling them.
He eventually did part ways with the acclaimed composer Bernard Herrmann, who did the music.
Psycho?
He did a lot of music for Hitchcock throughout his career.
What happened between them?
During a production of Torn Curtain in 1966, Hitchcock decided to replace Herrmann's score without telling him.
Wow.
And that led to the end of their professional collaboration.
Yeah, I can see why.
Alfred Hitchcock passed away on April 29th, 1980. At the age of 80. The cause of his death was kidney failure. Hitchcock had been suffering from renal failure for some time, and his health had declined in the later years of his life. Despite his health issues, Hitchcock continued to work on projects and make public appearances. However, his declining health eventually led to his passing. Alfred Hitchcock's death marked the end of an era in cinema, as he was one of the most influential and iconic filmmakers in the history of the medium. Alma Reville, his wife and collaborator, passed away on July 6, 1982.
Oh, just 2 years later.
The cause of her death was natural causes and attributed to aging.
Sure.
So that's Alfred Hitchcock. Now I have some list of fun facts that I pulled that I think are just fun stuff. Hitchcock popularized the term MacGuffin to refer to a plot device that serves as a motivator for the characters but is often irrelevant to the audience. He used this concept in many of his films. Hitchcock was considered for the role of director for the James Bond film Dr. No from 1962.
Okay.
However, he was deemed too expensive, and the role eventually went to Terrence Young.
Okay.
Despite his legendary status, Hitchcock never won an Academy Award for Best Director. He did receive the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award and was also knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1980. He delivered the shortest acceptance speech in Academy Award history while accepting that Irving Thalberg Memorial Award at the 1967 Academy Awards. And he simply said, "Thank you."
I mean, that's really all that needs to be said.
Thank you. Hitchcock was known for his culinary skills, too, and enjoyed preparing meals.
Was he good with a knife? Did he like to chop things?
I bet the fuck so. His daughter, Patricia Hitchcock, once said, quote, "My father was a good cook. He could make an excellent omelet." Which is funny.
What?
Because he hated eggs. One notable film is Hitchcock from 2012, which was directed by Sasha Gervasi. While it doesn't cover Hitchcock's entire life, it focuses on the making of Psycho.
Okay.
And it explores his relationship with his wife, Alma Reville, and features Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock and Helen Mirren as Alma Reville. I saw this. It's good. Because they were nominated for Oscars, I think.
Oh, really?
Or at least Anthony Hopkins was.
Oh, wow.
Walt Disney refused to allow him to film at Disneyland in the early 1960s because Hitchcock had made, quote, "that disgusting movie Psycho."
Interesting. Was Disney averse to the content, or he just thought it was bad?
I didn't look into that further. I just thought it was funny that he thought that it was a disgusting movie.
Interesting.
Hitchcock is the voice of the Jaws ride at Universal Studios. He was naturalized as a United States citizen in 1956. For interviews, the director made it known that he wouldn't allow any questions regarding his personal life.
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
keep your personal life
if
personal.
if you want to, you don't have to. That's Alfred Hitchcock.
Thank you.
Of course. I had a good time I had a good time doing this one.
And you can let us know your thoughts or what your favorite Hitchcock movie is if you have one in the comments at Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube.
At Horrorwood Podcast.
Or shoot us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
And you can be like Gigi or Alexia and hopping over to Patreon at
patreon.com/horrorwoodpodcast.
Thanks, everybody.
Kate, before we finish, what's your favorite Hitchcock movie? We didn't talk about that.
I haven't seen all of them.
I haven't either.
So for me, it's probably Psycho.
I do like Rear Window. I do like The Birds. I watched one recently, and I can't remember the name of it. And that's stupid, so why am I mentioning it? But it was like, it's all done in one shot.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure Matt would know.